Hi, I'm Julia Weinberg, and this is Lost and Found, my grandmother's story as a World War II refugee and Latvian-American. Growing up, my grandmother has always told us stories about her escape from Latvia. She has experienced an amazing journey that has lessons for all of us and has wanted someone to write it down for years. Reading and writing are interests of mine, so I decided that Strnad would be the perfect opportunity to record her story. Writing this book means a lot to me because my grandma's life is so incredible in so many ways, and this is a chance for my family and others to truly understand everything she had to endure so her story can be passed down for generations. My grandma is on the photo on the left below the red arrow. I first brainstormed what I wanted to include in the book. I wanted to write about my grandma fleeing to various European countries, her experiences as an American immigrant, and historical information to give some context to what was happening globally. I created a rough outline and started to think of what photos and documents I wanted to include in each chapter. On the left is a pile of photos I'd collected. My mentor and I then created a timeline of the main events to include in the book, and then I started to research what historical and family information I would need. Once the summer had hit, I had finalized the outline of the book and had begun interviewing my grandma. I had also begun researching historical information about World War II to include and gathered photos of my family. Interviewing my grandma was the most fascinating part of this entire process, as I had learned things about her that no one else had. I would end each interview with her feeling like I'd gone to know her more personally, and it made me so proud of her and my family. After I'd finished interviewing my grandma, collecting photos and documents, and finalized historical research, I compiled all of the information into book form. Here is a blown up picture from the document where I put the interviews. An important lesson I learned was that the best writing method for me was to sit down and let my thoughts flow without interruption, and then I would come back a second time to revise. This process could be very challenging because there's so much information and I struggled at times figuring out which to include and which to leave out. This part was also the most challenging for me because of time management. I had to learn to balance writing almost every day with my athletic and academic responsibilities. However, the writing process was so rewarding and gave me a huge sense of accomplishment every time I completed a chapter. On the left is the front cover of my book, and on the right is one of the pages. My final book is a total of 71 pages. My writing strategy was to write multiple paragraphs in one sitting and then reread it multiple times, each time looking for something new. I would first reread it to make sure it sounded coherent and concise. I would then reread it looking for grammatical errors. I repeated this process multiple times with every chapter and often read out loud while I worked because that helped me catch more errors. One challenge I had to overcome was I would often get so used to my own writing that I would fail to catch mistakes. I combated this by having my mentor or family peer revise because it always helped to get a fresh set of eyes. To create the layout of the book, I used Word documents, and to print the book, I used lulu.com. I incorporated reflective practice into my Strnad by writing once a week about my goals, completed work, and how I could apply these skills to real life and how I grew. Strnad taught me how to be independent and manage your time accordingly. There was no teacher making sure I was keeping up with the work or hitting deadlines, and I had to create my own schedule and plan work out months in advance. I realized from doing reflective practice how useful that skill of time management is because I can apply that skill to everything I do from now on. I also learned so many amazing facts about my family that I'll remember forever. Here are two quotes that stood out to me from my reflective practice. I'd love to give a special thanks to the Strnad family for this wonderful opportunity to do this project. I was able to learn so much more about my family history and became so much closer with my grandparents through this. I'm really proud of my family, and this gave me a chance to record something for future generations. I'll always remember the impact this book and this project had on my entire family. I'd also love to thank Miss McMillan for always being ready to answer any questions and keep all the Strnad applicants on track. Thank you to Mr. Prepper for always lending a helping hand and giving me words of encouragement. Last, thank you to my Strnad buddies and my family for being my support throughout all of this. Thank you.